And it's time to bring you Business Express for a Wednesday morning, 11th of May. Quite a lot happening in the world of business, and no better person to run us through with brilliant analysis. Rotus is in with us. Good morning, Rotus.
Hey, Mr. Pep, how are you doing? Good morning to you as well. Thanks for having me.
All right. Thank you very much for joining in. So, hey, a lot of things have been happening, like I said. In fact, I want to tag this one business divorce between EA Sports and FIFA. My goodness, after time since 1993 till now. But they're like, oh, no, we're not doing it again. We'll talk about that on the show now. You can be part of the show simply by sending a message to us on WhatsApp 0809 444 0981. All right. And we're also going to be looking at some other stories this morning. A lot of stories of interest. By the way, we're streaming live on YouTube. It's youtube.com/smooth981 Lagos. We'll also talk about the NNPC. Aviation fuel is still trending. I'm sure we can talk about that before the end of the show. Rotus, let's get straight into it. How far back is the business relationship between EA Sports and FIFA?
Yeah, I mean, look, it's for anybody who's played the FIFA game, it's been part of like culture for so long. It's like 30 years or so. It's decades. 1993, as you said, was the first, I think the first game that EA Sports as a company handled for the FIFA brand across all video game platforms. So yeah, it goes back as far as 1993.
Right, 1993 till now, and then all of a sudden we're just going to see, oh, these two people are not doing it together to give us a beautiful video gaming experience. Why really? What's going on? Why are they separating? Why are they parting ways, Rotus?
Yes, as P. Diddy said famously, it's not about the money, but it's about the money. I understand FIFA was getting $150 million a year from EA Sports in order to license the game to be used. So I understand they wanted to double that money, and they were looking for $300 million or more. Also, there were some disagreements as to exactly what should be contained in their new agreement. They couldn't seem to come to terms to go forward. But money was at the center of it. FIFA definitely want more money. FIFA is looking to expand its revenue streams going forward.
But what one listening now would ask, how lucrative has this deal been for both parties? And then afterwards, almost 30 years, like you said, they're now parting ways.
Yeah, it's been very lucrative. It's 100 and I mean, if you go to the mall, if you go to the Palms Mall or the mall at Surulere, any mall, anywhere there's an electronics store, you will see television on display and people are playing FIFA sitting down there, right? There are gaming centers all over Lagos and other countries where people just play this game. So in total, I think it's more than 150 million users across the world. And over the last 2 decades, it's about more than $20 billion in sales. So it's been very lucrative for two of them.
And when are we looking to, I mean, when does this current deal end?
So the last deal signed was I think it was 10 years ago, 2021, and it was supposed to end after this year's World Cup in Qatar, the Men's World Cup. But they
say towards the end of the year?
Yeah, towards the end of the year. But they extended it to next year after the Women's World Cup in Indonesia. So that'll be the last, I think FIFA 2023 will be the last collaboration between EA Sports and between the Football Federation.
For a lot of people who had, beautiful memories playing video games growing up, this news is just not it. It's really annoying, heartbreaking, I tell you. But how will the video game be impacted after this agreement ends, Rotus?
Yeah, so EA Sports will no longer have the rights of the FIFA name. The new game that they are doing now is EA Sports FC. And there'll be no more attachments to FIFA. So there'll be no FIFA World Cup and there'll be no attachment to any FIFA controlled events. So I think it's just going to be clubs that the EA Sports will have access to.
All right. And where does FIFA go from here after this deal? Have any idea about that?
FIFA is very excited about digital platforms and new games that are coming out. If you look at Fortnite and you look at all these other new games that are around, they want to try and leverage the new platforms that are out there. And according to them, I think in 2024, they're going to bring out their own rival game platform that is supposed to rival EA Sports. So FIFA has big plans. And I think the current licensing agreements that they have with EA Sports wasn't allowing them to explore other avenues. So now it looks like they're free to pursue that.
Looking at these two big companies, right, who have given us a beautiful gaming experience since 1993, who will be more negatively impacted by this split? Could it be EA Sports or FIFA?
It's hard to say. I mean, it's on the balance of it, you say maybe FIFA will be negatively impacted because EA Sports, they had the technology, they had the gaming simulation. All they from FIFA was the name, right? And a large, expansive network of 19,000 athletes, 100 stadiums, I think 30 plus leagues, or is it 30 plus teams? A lot of teams, or is it 300 teams? Excuse me, 300 teams, a number of stadiums. So going forward, they still have licenses with actual players. They have the Premier Bundesliga and so on. So EA Sports just has FIFA just has the name, but that name also carries some weights, right? So sales of the new EA Sports game be impacted by this decision. We'll have to see what happens when the new product is launched.
All right, let's bring it back home now to Nigeria and talk about aviation fuel, Rotus. The NNPC and airlines agree on a 3-month supply at 480 naira per liter. What does this mean for the average Nigerian?
Well, it means that there probably won't be an aviation shutdown for the next 3 months.
Will we see a reduction in the price of the tickets?
I doubt because it's still, it's only 3 months. The question is what happens after 3 months? After 3 months, the key thing here is foreign exchange and the fact that NNPC was able to get FX as apparently the official exchange rate of 416 or so, which allowed them to be able to bring the product in. Oil marketers are not able to access foreign exchange. And in fact, Gordon Emefiele was part of that meeting on Monday. Gordon Emefiele, Mele Kyari, a House of Reps, aviation players. And he said due to the oil, what did he say now? He said due to the oil theft going on in the Niger Delta, there is access to foreign exchange to be able to give to the oil aviation sector. So that means that if after this 3-month reprieve, if they go back to trying to source FX for themselves, that means they're sourcing FX at the parallel market rates, which will push up the costs of the landing cost of fuel as it comes. So this is just a temporary break for now for them. After the 3 months, it's interesting to see what happens.
So we know that the Aviation Operators of Nigeria (AON) had demanded license to be able to bring these products into the country. So they wouldn't spend as much because the marketers were holding the products, which the marketers, of course, denied holding these particular products. And right now, like you mentioned, the CBN governor and the GMD NNPC had a meeting and they've agreed that for 3 months, it will be 480 naira per liter. So we can have the aviation sector up and running. But there seems to be another news affecting Nigerians with regards looming fuel scarcity, right? I hear that marketers are demanding about 500 billion naira just to bridge the gap. Else, we're going to see another fuel scarcity, long queues resurfacing across Lagos and Nigeria in general. Rotus, what's your reaction to that?
Yeah, look, there's been the oil marketers are at the center of the issues that the aviation sector is having because they are blaming them for hoarding. And then when you now come to PMS and regular fuel, this is the oil marketers again. At least as for PMS, I don't know if that, come on, 500 billion. The NNPC, again, sole importer of the product. They use certain entities to bring the fuel into the country. They claim there's enough fuel to go around. And so I don't see that having enough, I don't see it having enough teeth. I don't see that threats, materializing, because I think the government will step in. But, look, the key thing here, NNPC has not been remitting money to the federation accounts because of the high cost of subsidy. So as long as this war continues, there's going to be pressure on the amount of money
but you know that in Nigeria, we want to press home our demand, we go on strike. We've seen that with various unions in Nigeria. What if the independent marketers decide, they're going on strike as well?
Then we're in trouble now. That means back to fuel queues again. So it will be nobody wants to go through that. So I think it's election year where everybody's flying up and down, driving up and down.
Exactly.
So, yeah, they probably won't try to let it happen. So we'll have to see how things materialize.
Well, keep the messages coming in on WhatsApp 0809-444-0981. I want to read from you. What's your reaction to the EA Sports and FIFA splitting? You said, oh, we don't do it again after about 30 years in business. Then again, the aviation field as well as field scarcity. Let's read from you. Finally, Rotus, before we jump right into the messages, I hear that JP Morgan has delisted Nigeria from emerging markets list.
Yeah, that's a very misleading headline. I don't know how it's out there. There are some entities that said that we've been removed from their emerging markets list, where they have a global emerging market bond index, which they use to track fixed income securities for a number of emerging market companies. Mm-hmm. JP Morgan put out a note on Monday saying that because of Nigeria's fiscal constraints and the fact that NNPC is not remitting money to the Federation accounts, even though oil prices are high, puts pressure on Nigeria's ability to be able to pay back her debts. Remember, Nigeria raised the Euro bond about a couple months ago, so $1.5 billion. So JP Morgan was like, well, if Nigeria is not making as much money from oil, it said move Nigeria from a category called overweight. So if you have 100 naira and you are going to put maybe 50 naira into emerging markets like Nigeria, Angola, and another 50 naira into developed markets like US and UK. If out of your 100 naira, you put 70 naira into Nigeria, you're overweight because 70% of the portfolio is going into Nigeria. All they said was shift that 70% down to maybe 50 or 40%. They just said to just reallocate how much money you are investing in Nigeria, in Nigerian debt. I don't know how that one now turned to delisting Nigeria. Nigeria is not being delisted from anything. It's just a portfolio reallocation. It's a risk mitigation move. They're reallocate the amount of money that they are putting into Nigeria because there's a little bit of worry about her ability to pay back her debt. That's all. So Nigeria is not being delisted from anything.
All right, let's look at some of the messages now on WhatsApp. Zicolo sends this one in, says, so federal government had to quickly involve the CBN and NNPC as aviation obviously would directly affect them, whereas ASO has been on strike for months without the same level of involvement and engagements from the federal government. It is well low. Ogenechukwu shares the same sentiment, comes in with this message, says, because most of them are using planes for campaign purpose, that is why it's getting attention. Why not education? Very unfortunate. Let's just run through with the messages. Yinka Bolu comes in, says, let's FIFA step back with respect to gaming. I feel they've not been balanced between EA Sports and PS. Some of us are loyal PS gamers, Let's see if this development would create a level playing field right now. Okay. Henry Emmanuel, let's just take this one. Henry Emmanuel says, the subsidy for the aviation industry is quite frankly unnecessary. Hopefully it's just for 3 months. And it's interesting that the CBN governor was at the meeting on Monday. What a way to demonstrate he can be neck deep into politics and still do his job. Any reaction to the messages?
CBN governor is everywhere. He's there's also another matter in courts where they are trying to sort out whether or not he can
stay in office.
Stay in office while running. So very interesting developments. But yeah, Gordon Mefele is in every sector because of the importance of foreign exchange and also stability for so many of these sectors, from aviation, manufacturing, farming, and everything. But very, very on the nose messages. I appreciate our very, very solid messages from our listeners as usual.
Thank you very much, Rotus. We need to go now. Let's do this again tomorrow at 6:30. It's always a pleasure having you on the show, Rotus.
Thanks for having me, man. Thanks, Pep. I appreciate it.
All right, the show continues till 10 o'clock, but right now we're taking you right back into the music. Play next is Simi Smile for Me. Stay with us. Express.